Jujutsu Kaisen, the anime and manga that took the world by storm, blending intricate storytelling with jaw-dropping action and a healthy dose of supernatural flair. Fans have been enthralled by the journeys of Yuji, Megumi, and Nobara, each character bringing their own unique energy to the mix. But let's talk about Nobara's return in the final arc. I can't help but feel it detracts from the overall narrative experience, and here's why. Nobara should have stayed dead and not just have been brought back. First off, let's look at Nobara's character arc. From her introduction, she stood out as a fierce and unapologetic force in a world filled with male characters who often overshadow their female counterparts. Her grit, determination, and unique abilities made her a breath of fresh air. Nobara wasn't just a sidekick or a token female. She was a fully fleshed-out character with her own goals and insecurities. When she faced off against Mahito, it felt like a pivotal moment, not just for her, but for the entire story. Her death, or what we assumed was her death, was heart-wrenching, but it also added an emotional weight to the narrative. It showed us the high stakes of the battle against curses and cemented the idea that no character, regardless of how strong or beloved, was safe. This brings me to the emotional resonance that her death carried. It amplified the stakes for Yuji and Megumi, who were left grappling with the reality of their friend's loss. The emotional fallout from her sacrifice pushed them to grow and evolve, especially Yuji, who was always trying to balance his role as a protector with the harsh realities of their cursed world. Losing Nobara was a pivotal moment that deepened their bond and showcased the toll that this fight was taking on them. Her absence forced them to confront their vulnerabilities and grapple with the moral complexities of their battle against curses. It was a turning point, illustrating the harsh truth that heroism often comes at a terrible cost. Now, fast forward to the final arc where Nobara makes her grand return. While I get the excitement, who doesn't love a good comeback? It feels almost like a cheat. Instead of heightening the stakes, her resurrection dilutes them. The tension that once came from the possibility of loss is diminished when characters can just come back. It throws a wrench into the themes of sacrifice and the cost of battle. Rather than feeling like a moment of triumph or a bitter twist, it risks turning into a narrative convenience. This shift diminishes the emotional investment we had in her character arc and makes it feel less significant when other characters face similar fates. Moreover, let's talk about character dynamics. The trio of Yuji, Megumi, and Nobara had a perfect balance when she was gone, each of them carrying their own burdens and motivations. Yuji was grappling with the weight of his own existence as a vessel for Sukuna, while Megumi wrestled with the responsibilities of his lineage and the complexities of his power. By bringing Nobara back, it alters the dynamic that had developed in her absence. Her return means that she has to reintegrate into a group that has been forced to adapt and grow without her. This could create interesting tension, but it also risks overshadowing the progress Yuji and Megumi made during their time without her. Instead of feeling like a celebration of friendship and reunion, Nobara's return could come off as a narrative device that distracts from the emotional growth that had taken place. The struggle becomes less about moving on from loss and more about how the characters can adjust back to having her in the mix. It shifts the narrative focus away from character development to more of a plot-driven scenario, and that's a letdown for a series that thrived on its character arcs. Additionally, there's the potential for wasted narrative space. With only so many chapters left, the final arc is a prime opportunity to resolve long-standing conflicts and deepen existing character relationships. Instead, we might find ourselves dealing with the logistics of Nobara's return, such as how she survived and what it means for the broader conflict against the curses. This could be time that could otherwise be spent developing the looming battles and strategies, exploring the history of cursed techniques, or digging deeper into the motivations of antagonists like Kenjaku or Sukuna. Moreover, the emotional stakes for the audience become muddied. A significant part of storytelling is the connection we build with characters and the journey we take alongside them. When characters can simply return from the dead, it can lead to a sense of detachment. We might start questioning the permanence of any stakes in the story. If Nobara can come back, what does that mean for the fates of other characters? Will we start to feel less invested in their struggles, knowing that there's always the possibility of a resurrection? It's a slippery slope that can erode the emotional foundation that made us care in the first place. And let's not forget the broader implications for the narrative world. Jujutsu Kaisen has built a compelling universe steeped in the reality of death, loss, and the consequences of power. The cursed world is brutal and unforgiving. It mirrors the complexities of life itself. By resurrecting Nobara, there's a risk of undercutting the very essence of this world. The harsh realities that the characters navigate become less tangible, and the weight of their battles feels lighter. It's important to remember that in a story that revolves around curses, the ultimate curse might be the inability to fully embrace the weight of loss and sacrifice. In conclusion, while I appreciate the love for Nobara and the desire to see her return, I can't shake the feeling that her resurrection undermines the rich emotional tapestry that Jujutsu Kaisen has woven throughout its narrative. The stakes feel lower, the tension less palpable, and the character dynamics shifted. It would have been more impactful for her to remain a haunting memory that propelled the others forward, rather than a living reminder of what could have been. Sometimes, leaving a character dead adds more depth to the story than bringing them back ever could. It's a classic case of less being more. Sometimes, what resonates most with us is not the triumph of survival, but the haunting legacy left in the wake of loss.